Zara Nightwhisper had earned her reputation through 300 confirmed kills across 47 star systems. No target had ever escaped her, no contract had ever gone unfulfilled, and no witness had ever lived to identify her. She was death incarnate, a shadow that moved between worlds, carrying silence and finality in her wake. The contract on Kepler 438b should have been routine. Target: Dr. Marcus Chen, former weapons researcher turned colonial administrator, her handler had briefed her. He's gone rogue, established some kind of illegal settlement on a Class 15 Deathworld. The consortium wants him eliminated before he can share classified defense protocols with unauthorized parties. Zara had killed weapons researchers before. They were usually paranoid, well-guarded, and living in secure facilities. A man hiding on a Deathworld might be harder to reach, but once she found him, he'd be just as vulnerable as any other target. She materialized from her stealth ship onto the surface of Kepler 438b, expecting to find a fortified compound, armed guards, and sophisticated security systems. Instead, she found herself standing in a flower garden. "Oh my," came a cheerful voice behind her. "We don't usually get visitors this time of day. Are you here for parent-teacher conferences?" Zara spun around, her hand instinctively reaching for the plasma blade concealed in her armor, but stopped mid-motion when she saw who had spoken. A woman in her 30s stood in the garden, wearing a simple dress covered in cartoon animals and holding a watering can. She had kind eyes, gentle hands, and was looking at Zara with the sort of genuine warmth that the assassin hadn't encountered in decades. "I'm looking for Dr. Marcus Chen," Zara said carefully, her enhanced senses scanning for threats. According to her intelligence, this planet was inhabited by apex predators that could kill an armored marine in seconds. "Oh, you just missed him," the woman said brightly. "He's picking up supplies from the orbital station. I'm Emily Chen, his sister. I run the kindergarten here in New Eden Colony." She gestured toward a building behind her that looked disturbingly normal, except for the fact that it was surrounded by creatures that Zara recognized as some of the most dangerous life forms in the galaxy. "Kindergarten," Zara repeated slowly, watching a small human child ride past on the back of what her combat implants identified as a void stalker. "On a Class 15 Deathworld." "Oh yes, the children love it here," Emily said, following Zara's gaze. "That's little Jamie riding Rex. Rex is wonderful. With the children, he's got this natural instinct for keeping them safe. Would you like to see the classroom?" I was just about to start afternoon story time. Zara found herself nodding, though every tactical instinct screamed that this was a trap. No one taught kindergarten on a planet where the air was toxic and the wildlife was legendary for its hostility to human life. Emily led her toward the building, chatting pleasantly about lesson plans and childhood development as if they were walking through a normal suburban neighborhood instead of one of the most dangerous environments in known space. "Now, the children are a bit special," Emily explained as they approached the classroom. "They've adapted remarkably well to the local conditions. Their immune systems have developed resistance to most of the environmental toxins, and they seem to have an intuitive understanding of which creatures are safe to approach." Through the classroom windows, Zara could see a dozen human children, ranging in age from about 4 to 7, sitting in a circle while a crystalline huntress, a spider-like creature the size of a small transport, delicately held up picture books with its foremost legs. "That's Shimmer," Emily said fondly. "She's been helping with reading lessons ever since she learned to turn pages without tearing them." The children adore her. Zara stared as the massive predator carefully turned a page of Goodnight Moon, while small children giggled and pointed at the pictures. "This is impossible," Zara whispered. "I know it seems that way," Emily agreed, opening the classroom door. "But children are amazing. They don't see monsters, they see friends. And somehow, That changes everything." The children looked up as they entered, and Zara found herself the focus of a dozen pairs of bright, curious eyes. None of them showed fear, despite the fact that her combat gear and weapons were clearly visible. "Miss Emily," called a little girl with pigtails, "Rex wants to know if he can help with craft time today." "Of course he can, Sarah," Emily replied, then turned to Zara. "Rex has gotten quite good at mixing finger paints. He's very careful with his tentacles." Zara watched as children worked on art projects, while creatures that could have effortlessly destroyed a military unit provided gentle assistance. A tunnel worm helped a boy reach art supplies on a high shelf. A pack of smaller predators that her implants couldn't even classify sat patiently while children used them as living furniture. "How?" Zara asked, her voice barely audible. Emily knelt down to help a child with his painting, speaking without looking up. "When we first crashed here, everyone expected us to die. The adults were terrified, trying to build walls and weapons to keep the creatures out. But the children, they just walked up to these beings and offered to be friends." She gestured toward where a small boy was showing a void stalker how to hold a crayon properly. It turns out that most apex predators have never encountered anything that wasn't afraid of them. Fear triggers their hunting instincts. But friendship, love, genuine care and affection? Emily smiled. That triggers something else entirely. Zara found herself sitting on a tiny plastic chair as children gathered around her, curious about her armor and weapons. Their innocence was like a physical force, breaking down walls she had spent decades building around her heart. "Are you a space soldier?" asked a little boy with gap-toothed grin. "Something like that," Zara replied, her voice rougher than usual. "Do you fight bad guys?" Zara looked into his trusting eyes and felt something crack inside her chest. "I used to." Over the next hour, she watched Emily teach children who were thriving in conditions that would kill trained soldiers. She saw love triumph over fear, innocence transform monsters into protectors, and hope flourish in the most unlikely environment imaginable. When Dr. Marcus Chen finally returned from the orbital station, he found the galaxy's deadliest assassin sitting in a circle with his kindergarten class. Listening to his sister read Where the Wild Things Are while apex predators provided living furniture and sound effects. "You're here to kill me, aren't you?" he said quietly, approaching carefully. Zara looked up from where a small girl had fallen asleep against her armored shoulder. "I was," she said. "The contract is void." Just like that, Zara gently shifted the sleeping child and stood up, her movements careful not to wake her. "I've spent my entire adult life dealing death. Today I learned what it means to nurture life." She looked around the classroom, where children played safely among creatures that should have been their doom. "I quit." She activated her communicator and sent a message that would shock the galactic underworld. "Zara Nightwhisper is retiring from active duty, effective immediately. Do not contact me for future contracts." Then she turned to Emily Chen. "Do you need an assistant teacher? I think I need to learn how to do something constructive for a change." Emily smiled, the same warm smile that had greeted a deadly assassin and somehow transformed her into something better. "I think the children would love that," she said. "Just remember, on a Class 15 Deathworld, the most dangerous thing you can encounter is a kindergarten teacher who truly believes every life can be saved." Zara Nightwhisper, formerly the galaxy's deadliest assassin, spent the rest of her life learning to finger paint, read bedtime stories, and help children see friends instead of monsters. It was the most important work she had ever done.